Tell me about what's the most important piece of advice you've received as a property manager?
Learning how to say no.
Hello, professional property managers. Andrew Smallwood here. And we've got a new kind of episode for the Triple Win podcast today, where we're actually got five highlight clips of different industry professionals answering the same question. So you'll hear from people like Matthew Whitaker, Peter Lohman, Miranda Honeycutt, and more answer questions like, what's the best advice they've ever received as a property manager? Or as a property management industry professional. So you'll get to hear 5 different answers to that same question, all super cut together in this special episode today. We hope you enjoy it. Now, to kick us off, Matthew Whitaker. Tell me the most important piece of advice you've received as a property manager.
Well, as we all know, property management is a very hard business. The whole business is dealing in problems, and truthfully, it's very draining to deal with problems all day. So I think taking care of yourself if you're a leader, or taking care of yourself if you're a property manager, the advice that I got was, look, you need to consistently invest in yourself. And what I have found through a lot of trial and errors, what basically gets me back on track when things aren't going well. And for me, it's biographies. I love to read biographies of great people. I just finished that Albert Einstein biography today. And because you realize that even great people have hard times that they go through in their life. And as you're growing a business, or you're part of a growing business, it's just not always up and to the right. I think we have this fallacy with the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world that everything just, we're all supposed to hit it big, and then, everything's easy. And the truth is it's not. And most organizations grow in clunky ways, and we just need to be okay with that, and also realize that we've got to take care of ourselves, that this thing is a journey. It's a 10-year journey or a 15-year journey. It's not a 2 or 3 year journey. It's not a sprint.
Love that. Okay, that was Matthew Whitaker. Up next is Peter Lohman. Peter, what's the most important piece of advice you've received as a property manager and company owner operator?
Wow, that's a tough one. I just ran into Robert Locke. We're here at the NARPM Broker Owner Conference, and I remember years and years and years ago when I was new in the business, I can so picture a video of him. I can still picture it. He goes, "Property management is a nickel and dime business." And you can argue a little bit about whether that's as true then as it's true now as it was then, and what that really means. Is that great for the consumer? But what that did for me at the time was it opened my eyes that there's more to the business than just the monthly management fee. And so understanding the different ways that you can make money in this business, there's a lot of different ways. That mindset shift was big for me. And it was an unlock that I think has really helped propel my business over the years.
And can you give some examples of, after say, hey, we're going to do more than just a management fee, or more than a tenant placement fee that a lot of companies might have? What were some of those things that you did first that you saw, okay, this is actually working, it's very effective?
Yeah, so early days we did, we used kind of behavioral fees on the resident side. So you leave dog poop in the yard, there's a fee. You're late with the rent, there's a fee. That's an obvious one. You accidentally you don't pay your bill and utility gets disconnected, that's a fee, right? So you can build out a fee structure, and you can monetize the resident in that way to sort of make your job easier by having them comply with the lease. So that was kind of the early days, and it turned me on to things like the lease signing administrative fee. And you can find these fee lists online if you're really interested in learning more about this. And there's even Todd has a great course. Todd O has a course on this. So that was early. Then also, of course, there's the maintenance side. So we brought maintenance in-house. We have a maintenance markup. And so you can drive revenue through maintenance as well. And then resident benefit packages, which is a more recent innovation, is another way that you can layer on fees. You can think about fees as like the resident side and the owner side. So don't forget about owners too, right? You can have annual fees for owners. And the end of the day is this is how most businesses operate. There's a base fee, and then there's ancillary fees. Look at the airlines, look at the hotels. The reality is your competitors are shopping you on your base fee. That's an unfortunate reality, and we have to operate in that space. We have to compete in that space. So you need to find ways to have your sort of your sticker price be competitive, but still make a profit. And so, obviously Triple Win has been a big part of that for us.
Yeah, it's interesting. Everyone has a management fee. I don't know of a property management company that doesn't have one, or sometimes some will market a 0%, if you will. That's pretty uncommon. But there's also not necessarily a consistent definition of what exactly the management fee covers.
100% correct. And that's something I would love to see the industry define.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be easier for consumers to definitely make a comparison and make a buying choice in that case. Hope you enjoyed what Peter had to share. Next, we've got Pablo Gonzalez. Tell me about the best advice you've ever heard given to property management company owners.
Delay gratification as long as possible. I think we rush to try to make money. And the longer that you can go without needing to fill your own coffers, the better operation, the better business, the more talent you're going to have on your side if you're able to do that. I heard Greg Cohen say in a room full of real estate investors. It made me feel really good about myself because I had been in business for 3 years and was making a ton of revenue and making no money. So I just think as a business owner in general, that is something that continues to show up for me as advice. I literally just got the same piece of advice from Lisa Wise. So I'm going to apply that to property management since
Pablo's full of energy, isn't he? Next, we've got Miranda Honeycutt. Miranda, number one, tell us about the most important piece of advice you've been given in your property management career.
Get clear on what you will and will not tolerate.
Can you tell me more about that? Some examples of that.
I think that applies across the board. I think it applies to, I love it so much because I think it applies to tenants, residents. I think it applies to vendors. I think it applies to owners. I think it applies to employees, contractors. Like, what will you tolerate? What are your standards? Be very clear about that. And when it's not to your standards, do something about it. And that doesn't mean terminate a relationship. That means say, hey, this isn't going the way I'm expecting it to. What can we do about it? And then get in there.
That's great. Can you give like an example? Hey, here's something we used to tolerate and then now we don't. Or it's something we never wanted to tolerate, right? But here's something we really enforce now as a standard.
We used to tolerate our contractors not getting their bills in. And then our owners were like, why am I getting a bill from 3 months ago? So we updated our vendor contract and really started enforcing it and calling them and saying, hey, just so you know, you're at 28 days on this bill and on our contract. If it's not done within 30, we're not going to pay you. So I'm not sure what you're doing tonight, but I really hope it's billing.
Yeah. No, I can imagine small business, contractor, et cetera, get caught up. Eventually they try to get back in, but that's obviously a bad experience. So, hey, having a service level agreement, timeline set up, and communicating that, how's that like gone as you've enforced that? How's that change gone for you guys?
It's gone well. I think the guy we were having the most problems with, he just kind of laughed it off and he was like, when y'all started putting me to the pedal on that, I started doing all my billing and my other people are real happy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, because like, I don't understand why you're working and then you don't even want to get paid. Like, so many people show up to the door, like you got to pay them before they'll even get in the car to drive to you. And you do all the work and everything and you're out. Like, what does your cash flow management look like? Like, how are you operating? They like it. They found it's kind of like setting boundaries with kids. Like they really do crave that. People really want you to tell them what success looks like. And this means you're doing a great job and this means you're not, so that they can improve. They really like the boundaries.
That's great. Great example. Okay, that's Miranda's best advice she's ever received. To bring us home, Wolfgang Krosky. Wolfgang, Tell me about what's the most important piece of advice you've received as a property manager?
Learning how to say no. Starting out, and people are like, well, you're third generation. That's a whole nother podcast. But knowing my value and being able to say, nope, that's not worth my time. You take on any client, any door, whatever, coming from real estate sales, you say yes to everybody and then you figure out how to make it happen. But I would say for those just starting or you're grasping for something new, learn to say no.
I love that.
And be confident.
Can you give like a couple examples of something you used to say yes to that now you say no to and why you made that shift?
Yeah. So, hey, I know you manage these 2 properties, but I got these 2 other ones over here. Can you do it? Yeah, no problem. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, well, I really don't have vendor relationships over there. I don't have the traffic driving there, all that stuff. So we just say no. But it's not just, no, you have a nice day. It's like, I don't do it. And here's why. It's because, look, when your property needs maintenance, I'm not going to be able to get you the best deal, the best value. So let me help you find somebody that covers that area. So it's not just, don't just say no and give them the bird, but help them still find a solution. It's just, you're not the provider of that solution. You're the connector.
What I love about that example, what it kind of illuminates for me is there's a way to say no that harms trust.
Yes.
And does this person have my back? Are they here to really help me? And there's a way to say it like you just did that actually builds trust and says, here's the outcome I'm here to help you have. Here's the experience working with us, the relationship we want to have. And this is outside that. So let me help you try to find what you're looking for elsewhere. I think people can see that the value of that. But man, it's so easy to say, oh, this is a client, a good client, and maybe not think so. It's just easier to reflect.
Yeah, you see like, oh, man, it could be an extra, $600 a month the management fee. Yeah, it wouldn't be that bad. You justify it, and you're like, I think that's when you're a professional, is when you can turn down money because it's what's best for the client and feel good about it.
So much about property management seems like understanding where you draw these boundaries on what you do, who you do it for, drawing those lines clearly and honoring them.
Right.
And hey, if you are going to step outside of it, doing that with intention and understanding, what you're taking on there seems like crucial to success.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great.
And that wraps up another episode of the Triple Win Property Management Podcast. Thank you for pressing play. We hope you've gained valuable insights and inspiration.
The Triple Win Property Management Podcast is proudly produced and distributed by Second Nature, where we believe in a triple win, building winning experiences for your residents, investors, and your teams with the only fully managed resident benefits package. Visit secondnature.com to learn more and talk to an RVP expert in your area.
If you have any questions, comments, or want to weigh in on the conversation, we'd love to hear from you. Email triplewin@secondnature.com. That's triplewin@secondnature.com.
Stay connected with us beyond the podcast. Visit our website at secondnature.com to stay updated with upcoming property management events and articles.
And don't forget, you can keep the conversation going in the Triple Win Property Management Facebook group. It's exclusively for property managers.
To receive even more valuable insights and updates, subscribe to our newsletter. You can find the link to that and much more in the show notes.
On behalf of the Triple Win community, this is Laura Mack, thanking you for tuning in.
And on behalf of Second Nature, this is Carol Housel. Check back soon for another exciting episode.
Until then, keep striving for that triple win.